baby.
We are back. I'm making up for my missed show yesterday. I apologize. A little under the weather, but that's all right. It's October 19th. Brought on with me, Jake Ellenbogen. Jake, how's it going?
It is going great, Steph. How you doing?
I'm good. I can't believe we're this far into October, this far into football, like basketball. Like now we're starting to shift ways thinking about basketball even more. So very excited. It just is going by a little too fast.
It really is. Like, okay, it's week 7 and we get to learn more about the league and everything and who's good, who's bad, and who's not. But it's week 7. Like, we're getting close to the end, and I don't like that.
And I feel like this year too, and I don't know how, I feel like there is just such a big difference between, like there's this middle gray area of teams that we just don't even know their identity yet. And usually by week 7, we have a little bit more of an idea of who they are.
Yeah, I don't know if that has to do with anything, like any of the rule changes, any, culture changes in the league. Like, I don't know, but it does feel that way. And, just kind of looking at the playoff picture, I mean, I think there are probably, I would say there's probably 25 teams that you could say are like in it. Like, obviously we're stretching a little bit. Like I'd include, the Vikings, the Packers, the Chargers, the Bengals, but I mean, that's what we're talking about is like really no one's separated really, except for like the top.
Right. And then the bottom, I think. But even some of the bottom teams, especially some of the teams that I think people were a little bit lower on are showing that they are actually going to try to fight and to win some games. The Rams have a backfield thing going on that fantasy football will not shut the fuck up this week. I was not on Twitter that too much yesterday, or at least for myself. But where are you at with this? So Kyren Williams just came off of a fantastic game. I mean, he had 158 yards it was last
158,
week?
Yeah.
A touchdown. And he was averaging like 7.9 yards per carry.
I want to say 8 of that came in the first half.
Unreal. But now he's hurt.
I know.
So
this is what happens when you have the number 1 usage rate in the league.
Yeah. And this is what happens too when like you just can't have anything nice. I know that very well from being a Giants fan. So what's going on with the backfield? You tell me from your opinion what this looks like. Because I think a lot of times, especially the fantasy community, and again, I'm part of that. So sometimes I say that and I feel bad because I get that I'm part of the problem. I think it's easy to overanalyze the situation when sometimes it's just right in front of you. So where are you at?
It's Darrell Henderson. It's going to be Darrell Henderson. I mean, look, Zach Evans still has some value. Gaskin has value. I'm really excited to see Gaskin as time goes on. They're taking it slow with Gaskin. He doesn't know anything about the offense. They even said like, oh yeah, you have some familiarity with Kevin, and he's like, yeah, but like I don't want to say I know anything. And so they had him doing stuff off to the side, but yeah, it's Henderson. I think this is an old school. Hey, we were wrong about you. We made the mistake. You and I have talked at great lengths of how I feel about Henderson. You've backed Henderson in the past. They rolled with Cam Akers. It kind of blew up in their face. So right now, Kyron's out. Ronnie Rivers is out. Darrell Henderson's signed to the practice squad. Don't make too much of that. I think he's going to be, I was told he's probably going to be elevated Friday. So he's going to play. Then you have Royce Freeman, who is not fantasy relevant in any facet. He is very touchdown dependent. He might have 1 touchdown. He snags in there, but no. And then you have, Zach Evans, who did get 4 garbage time carries last week, stepped in. Sean liked that, McVay talked about that, in detail, but at the end of the day, pass protection is almost as important as running the football as a running back. And the Rams can't rely against TJ Watt, against Alex Highsmith this week in Pittsburgh. They can't rely on Zach Evans in pass protection. It's why Evans is going to be an early down rusher, but I still think Hendo is going to get the majority of the work.
I think the Rams are one of these teams where something that my dad used to always say, adapt over. Wait, adapt, improvise, overcome. They're kind of that team where they just kind of figure it out. Like, oh, well, you're down. We're just going to figure it out. Like when Cup was out, like, we're just going to figure it out. It's not going to be that serious. We're just going to find a way to overcome that. Talk to me about Cup being back. Last time you were on, I gave a lot of praise here to Tutu. So did you. Puka continues to show that he is the real deal. So what's it been like having Cup back?
It's the Cup show. When he's back, it's Cup. It's all the targets go to Cup. And the crazy thing is, Steph, his first game in over a year playing, just about a year, he goes over 100 yards, quietest 100-yard game you'll ever see against Eagles.
Then the next game, anything about it.
Yeah, and then the next game he goes over 140, and I thought Stafford missed him a couple times. So they're still not on the same page like they were during the Super Bowl season. And that should scare the crap out of everybody. Unless you're a fantasy owner of Cooper Kupp, then you're loving it. But yeah, you don't have to worry about Puka Nacua or Tutu Atwell taking over Kupp. I think that was kind of the misconception here. I think everyone can eat, but I think Kupp's always going to eat. So the question is it going to be a week where everyone does or just Kupp? You never have to worry about Kupp. I think he's like, it's 90.5 is the yards prop for this week. I mean, I'm going over that all day. Yeah. I was just saying on another show, I was like, I'll take over until it gets to 120 and then we'll have a discussion. But I mean, he's that guy.
Right. Yeah, no, he is. And then, so this week, have the Steelers at home. You guys are 3-point favorites at home. That total has actually moved up a little bit since it's opened. Right now it's sitting at 44. What do you make of this game here? I'm a little bit surprised by the spread. I don't know that is exactly where I would have opened it at, but it is what it is.
Well, what's funny is I have the Rams winning this game 23-20, but I wouldn't take the under because I feel like anything can happen in this game. I'm just going to stick with this is kind of an ugly game that the Rams want to win ugly, and they're just going to run the ball, and they're just going to try to keep the Steelers faithful out of it because we know they travel very well. Yeah, and I mean, you're going to be on a silent count. So, it's like, do you really want to give them any sort of chance to have a huge momentum boost, putting Stafford in harm's way? No, the best way to mitigate a pass rush is to run the football, and I think that's what the Rams are going to do.
Yeah. Also, already looking at this, pulling this up here, Tutu Atwell is plus 370 for an anytime touchdown. I kind of like that. I think, where are you at with the Steelers as a whole? Because I think they're one of those teams that, like I talked about earlier, we don't fully have their identity yet. And I think there's a lot of pieces to this. There's a big Canada-sized piece to this also that's impacting a lot of this team. But like, where are you at as a landscape looking at the Steelers and what their season looks like moving forward? Because you look at their schedule and I still think they're going to sneak out these wins and save that win total futures bet that I had.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, first off, they already have shown you that they can win just with their defense. I mean, I still can't believe they won that Ravens game. It's still ridiculous. Cannot believe they won that game. They were outplayed in every facet, and the defense steps up and essentially, wins the game at the end. I've watched TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith single-handedly completely steal games from teams. Right. I think with this team, they're going to have to get much better in the run game. They're giving up the 29th most rushing yards per game. But I think also people need to be well aware they have talent on the offensive line. It's not working right now, and they keep throwing out Dan Moore. They just got to start the rookie. Broderick Jones is the guy.
Why are they not? Just do it. Just do it. It's actually really fucking frustrating.
It really is. And I love Steelers fans. They're great. They're always in my mentions, and they're just easy to talk to. Yeah. And I feel for them, man, because they just want to see the rookie, man. Like, they just spent a first-round pick on this guy, and it's like, I want to see this guy in action, and you do. And I think he gave up one pressure, and they're like, nope, back to Dan Moore. And you're like, oh, no. So, yeah, it's not great right now. Sounds like Dan Moore's going to start against the Rams. I think from the Steelers' perspective, you're hoping, Kenny Pickett's able to get into a rhythm. George Pickens is dynamic. He still can break open a game. But also, Deontay Johnson's coming back. I'm very excited about that.
That's the big thing. I don't know I wonder if they have anything up for him. It's so annoying that, I'll talk about it more on tomorrow's show when they have a little bit more of these numbers up, but it's annoying they take so long. But I wonder what they're going to set some of his numbers at. I see him getting involved immediately. Like reception numbers, it's going to be
35 and a half.
It's going to be too low, I think, maybe. What do you think?
Well, I think his receptions.
It's 47 and a half.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is. Minus
I don't know.
110. Yeah, that makes me a little nervous. The longest reception sitting at 19 and a half. Nothing else up yet that I see, but it'll be interesting to see what his receptions comes in at.
Yeah, it'll be really fascinating in this game. Because I mean, you got the two guys on the Rams side, and then you also have there are three rivalry games going on, or three revenge games, if you will. Allen Robinson, anytime touchdown against his former team at SoFi. He was not happy the way it went down. He understood it. He was very professional about it, but there's no way you could tell me he was happy about the way it went down. 3 years, you get the 3-year contract, $14 million a year, and then they're like, yeah, sorry, you're not in our plans.
JK.
We're going to trade you for nothing over. Good luck in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, he's been close. He's been like this close to get, I think he could have a good game this week. And I think one of them's going to, because I'll tell you right now, whoever Akello is going to be on, they're going to be locked down for the most part. I think it will be Pickens. There's the revenge game for Akello Witherspoon with the Steelers. The revenge game for Kevin Dotson, who was traded right before the season, the right guard.
A little bit more than I think people are realizing.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there's bad blood, but, we love those revenge games, especially anytime touchdown. So I do like Allen Robinson to find the end zone.
I like it. Is there any other games that you are looking at this week? This slate it's an interesting one. I'm just going over, seeing how some of these lines have moved. I'll just ask you, because again, it's my show here. Commanders at Giants. Giants are home dogs. Not sure. Sounds like Jones is maybe trending towards playing, actually. Evan Neal is trending towards not playing. He finally has a game that he looks fucking serviceable, and how he's hurt. I mean, you can't make this shit up anymore as far as the Giants O-line goes. We're really happy that they signed Justin Pugh. I think the Commanders overachieved a little bit in the beginning of the year. Do I think that this is I don't know that I consider it an even matchup, but I don't know that I am very confident in the Giants either. Where are you at?
It's tough. I mean, I kind of want to pick the Giants here. What I actually like here is Daniel Jones rushing props, because I think Washington's going to get a lot of pressure. And in order for them to win that game, well, either Daniel Jones or Tyrod, whoever starts, I like the rushing there, because, I mean, you got Chase Young playing out of his mind about time, right? So Chase Young's playing out of his mind. You got Montez Sweat. I think Daron Payne got hurt last week. I hope he's okay. And then Jonathan Allen, just that front. And then just they can send guys, whether it's a safety blitz with Cam Curl or, some of the linebackers they have. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the quarterback rushing props there. I think that, because I think you're going to see a lot of that, and that's going to have to happen in order for them to win the game. Saquon's also very intriguing in this one, as kind of like a dump off option.
I was going to say his receptions are 3.5. It's plus money odds too. I like him to go over that, because it is going to be like this dump off, check down type scenario, especially if Tyrod is there.
Yeah, that's the thing. And if you can't run the ball, throw the ball, short, and it's the same as running it, you're keeping the defense honest. And I think that's what they intend to do with Saquon if they can't run it.
Yeah, it's actually I'm looking at this now. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Washington Commanders players with shorter odds to score a touchdown than a single New York Giants player. I think there's going to be a very big emphasis, a very big push. There always should be every week, but for some reason that's not the case, to get one of these guys into the end zone. So whether it's finally Waller, because he did have that,
it's gotta be Waller.
Broken up catch. I won't say it was a drop. He had one really bad drop last week. That was broken up. It was just really well defended. But plus 275, an interesting one to look at. And even Jalen Hyatt plus 460. Wanda Robinson plus 320. I'll probably be taking looks at one of those guys.
Well, the snap count, that's the thing. The snap count for Jalen's up, and unfortunately, our guy, Isaiah Hodgins, is down. I actually just dropped him in Dynasty because I think that this is just trending towards, a bad situation for him.
And unfortunately, he always was kind of like coming over as a Band-Aid. Paris Campbell was also part of that, where they were coming over to kind of just fill a gap until they could start proceeding as they wanted to.
Yeah, I think I got a little too hyped because I was I just you fall in love with the player.
We like the underdogs. It's not our fault.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, true wisdom would tell you the snap count's going up. Jalen Hyatt was my number one wide receiver coming out of the draft. Yeah. Everyone underrated his route running ability, including that Dallas Cowboys coach, and he let him know it. Yes. So, I think at the end of the day, he's going to start, doing some things. I mean, we saw it the rookie year of Darius Slayton. If you can't do anything, streak down the field, catch those deep balls down the field, that's going to come, and I think it wasn't going to happen with Tyrod. I think Tyrod's a good game manager, can throw short and intermediate. Daniel Jones can throw the deep ball. I think we're going to see a couple more. If he plays, I like Jalen Hyatt, over pretty much everything that's going to be there. I think they need to use Jalen Hyatt. They need to use Saquon. I think that's the key there.
Yeah, Easy's in here saying if I can find a Hyatt longest reception line, that's I like that for sure. That is, there's one I like tonight a lot also that we'll talk about in a little bit. Also, hi chat. Ryan's not here, so I'm not doing as good of a job keeping up with the chat because that's usually Ryan's job. But I appreciate everyone that is here. Hit that like button if you are listening. I want to talk about the Cowboys for a second, that Cowboys-Chargers game. I don't know. We talked much of it. Michael Gallup fucking killed me. The amount of money I could have won on Monday.
DJ Moore did that to me.
Oh my God. It was so painful. They're sitting second in the NFC East, sitting at 4-2. What did you make of that game? There might be more to talk about the Chargers that game than there was the Cowboys. I think we see Dak always comes back from a loss like this. His passer rating after a loss, I saw something the other day is absurd. It's always well over 100.
Yeah. See, the Cowboys, I was wondering why it took so long to get Brandon Cooks involved.
Yeah.
It's why do you even have him? Please just get rid of him if that's going to be the case. I don't know, that the Cowboys for me, they feel like they're kind of pretenders. I'm not going to lie. It just doesn't feel like a genuine 4-2 team. It feels like a team that, you lost to the Cardinals and, you say that's not who you are, but maybe that is who you are. Maybe that is that you're going to beat teams. Who's to say the Chargers are good this year? To be honest with you, Brandon Staley might be one of the best defensive coordinators in football. He's not a good head coach. I'll say it over and over again.
Well, we've seen this happen with guys like Brian Flores too. Sometimes it's just you're not well suited for that head coaching, and that doesn't.
It's okay.
It doesn't take away. I think I like Mike Zimmer. I think that Mike Zimmer. I just don't think he was suited for a head coaching job.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of coordinators, and this is the problem where we get so excited about a Ben Johnson. We don't know if Ben Johnson would be a good head coach. We have no idea, you know? And so that's the thing, is that I just kind of get that vibe where it's, first off, I'll just say this right now. I feel like Raheem Morris is going to end up with the Chargers. That's where I think he's going to go. And then I think, yes, I do. And I think he'll probably either keep Kellen Moore, because I don't think Kellen Moore is the problem there. He'll either keep Kellen Moore as the OC, or he'll bring in somebody like a Mike LaFleur to call plays from the Rams, or Zach Robinson, who they got from PFF and continues to go up the coaching rungs. I love it. I think that'll be one of those guys.
Yeah, I ran it back with Staley first coach fired, because I think the more you sit down and actually look at it, it feels more realistic that he's actually the first one out the door, especially if they don't end up making the playoffs. I think that that's what we see happen. I think there's a strong case to be made for some other guys. Ron Rivera gets thrown out there, but I think we talked about this last time you were on. The commander, Ron Rivera, is too respected, as he should be. I just don't foresee him getting fired halfway through a season, or towards the back end.
I don't see it. I don't see it
happening.
He probably should. Here's what I'll say. You don't want to ever compare. Obviously, I don't think NFL teams compare to other NFL teams too much. But at the same time, like, look at the Jets right now. Look at what the job that Saleh and that coaching staff is doing. They're making top quarterbacks look pedestrian with the defense. They're doing just enough on the offensive side of the ball. Dalvin Cook was a straight up bust for them. So Breece Hall's now come alive and he's helping them out. And they're just controlling the clock just enough to sneak away and beat, a Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Probably should be in Patrick Mahomes. They could be 4-2 right now. So when you look at that, that's good coaching. Okay. People were saying Saleh's going to be on the hot seat. They're 3-3 because Saleh is a good coach. This is why the Chargers, like if they lose to the Chiefs now, they're 2-4. So you don't want to compare, but at the same time, it's like that kind of gives you an idea. You got one guy is Justin Herbert. Another guy is rocking with Zach Wilson. I mean, and keep this in mind too, because I mean, I Staley's from Sean McVay's coaching tree. I'm not trying to hate on him. I'm just trying to be a realist here. I'm going to call it like I see it. This guy was a defensive freak. Like he was the number one defense with the Rams. He leaves, he goes and, becomes the head coach. Have the Chargers had a good defense? I mean, they have all these players. They got a Khalil Mack here and a Bosa here, and they got Derwin James. They got Kenneth Murray. They have all these guys all over the place. On paper, they should be a top 5 defense, but they're not. So what's up?
What's interesting too? There's a coach that I actually think should be 1-2 weeks away from getting fired, but this organization does not fire coaches mid-season, and it's Kevin O'Connell. Like, you want to talk about a guy who is taking on too much, and maybe he just needs to hand off the play calling, and maybe that's part of it. But this team is underachieving in a way that it's starting to be like, I think we have to start looking at coaching a little bit. Like, I think that we're a couple weeks away from people having that conversation about Kevin O'Connell. And I know Vikings fans didn't like that when I said it. And I like Kevin O'Connell. I just think that he's really struggling with doing everything. Like he's having a hard time managing.
Yeah, I think, the thing that definitely saved him, that I think we can agree on is the Justin Jefferson injury. That's going to be the excuse, but I do agree. I mean, he needs to be better. And this is somebody that I've been very high on. And you and I both have, but he hasn't done enough. And I think, obviously it's only week 7, but at the same time, it's week 7. Like if it's not now, then when, when are you going to get it together? And, I think for all the criticism we give Mike McCarthy, this team's 4-2. I don't think this team's that great.
Right. And also Mike McCarthy, like in defense, like has always coached a good team. Unfortunately, like no matter what, like look, if you want to go record, just look at the records that he's had on some of the teams he's been at. Like he's always kind of coming through, as much as he is like he makes some boneheaded mistakes. But again, like his team is still kind of coming through always.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I kind of feel like there are just high level coaches right now, like elite level coaches. I mean, you talk about the Shanahan, you talk about the McVay, talk about Tomlin. I don't know where Belichick is right now. I have a feeling he's going to stick around though, and he'll be somewhere else. That's going to be a weird thing to see him in another, uniform, if you will. But hoodie, but but I think there's a lot of these great coaches. Then you have guys like Sean McDermott, who I think are underrated. But the playoffs will always, it'll be held against him.
Right.
And I think one of those coaches I want to bring up is going to be coaching tonight. It's Dennis Allen.
I don't even understand. Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit. So if he goes 8-8 or 8-9 or 9-8, whatever, people will say he needs to be fired. But Sean Payton did that with Drew Brees like 4 years in a row and no one said a word.
No, Sean Payton is a whole nother.
I love it. I love it. I'm sorry, Broncos fans. I love it.
I want to find the video that you and I did after that fucking Russell Wilson trade when we told everyone it was going to look I think I almost said word for word, in 2 years, you're going to all think this was the dumbest thing ever. And look at us now. I tried to say it over and over again. I've been taking their win total under for the past, this is the second year in a row. Sean Payton didn't move the needle. And I got trolled like a motherfucker online because I said, I don't care that it's Sean Payton. I still have an issue with Russell Wilson. And I don't know if Sean Payton makes that any better.
And how good is Sean Payton? Really? Was it
Breeze? I don't know. And it's so funny because people are so easy to, oh, Bill was only Bill because of Tom Brady. Okay, so why don't we talk about Sean Payton? You want to talk about Sean Payton? Because I want to talk about Sean Payton. Like, how do you know that Sean Payton's success didn't have to do with, like, give me a break.
No, see, chat, this is why when we get together, she said that she took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that exact same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, we're, we might disagree on some things, but the things that we do agree on and we're normally passionate about, like that Seahawks trade. I don't like the Seahawks. Seahawks fans were coming at you like you were crazy, but
I know.
Hey, we were right. We were right. This is, screw the bias. I don't care how the Seahawks fans treat me. I'm going to be honest with you. You guys absolutely fleeced Denver.
Yeah.
And it's still showing.
It was so obvious. I knew it.
Sean Payton, though.
So happy. Even this year,
I feel bad. Denver fans are cool. They're cool.
Denver fans are great. I think they're so cool. Like 100%. I love
Sean Payton.
I have so many friends out there, but like, come on. Like, what are we? I mean, holy fuck, they're a bad football team.
I mean, it's not good. And, you talk about hearing these, oh, well, there's going to be this fire sale. It's like, okay, Sean Payton going too? Because I mean,
are you admitting, or is that admitting that you're tanking? So is the goal Caleb Williams? Like, is that seriously, like, the conspiracy theories are true? You're ready to just blow it up? And someone suggested like the best thing for them to do is take the hit on Russell. Well, I don't agree on that because at that point, you spent so much money that you might as well bring in whatever rookie, let them sit maybe. I don't know, but they're not a good football team. And they're probably not going to be a good football team next year or the year after.
No, and here's the thing. So you're now trading away guys like Jerry Jeudy. Like, I don't understand. And I'm not like a huge Jerry Jeudy fan, but like, I don't get it. Like, it has to make sense. It's like the Carolina Panthers, we've talked about it. Oh, Brian Burns is on the block. Why is he on the block?
Like what? What are
like what you found it? So you're telling me you hit on your draft pick and now you want to trade him. I don't understand it. I feel like these teams, and this is why we have the same teams, there's more parity in the NFL than people give credit for. But it's why we have these cycles where these teams dominate for a decade. Because a lot of these teams continue to do the same things, both good and bad. So you see the Chiefs and they'll sit there and they'll be like, okay, we'll make this thing work. We got Patrick Mahomes. We're good. They're not going crazy at the receivers. They're winning games. And then you have a team that has more receivers than the Chiefs have. And they're like, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid. Why? Why are you doing that? Like, why is Cortland Sutton? I'm seeing him in, there was an article. It was like Cortland Sutton's on the trade. Why would you trade Cortland Sutton? Why would you trade Jerry Jeudy? Also, I gotta say, Steph, I don't think Russ has been that bad either. Like, he was awful last year.
In defense, he hasn't been that bad. I've definitely been the last couple of years a bigger Russ hater than I probably should be. He hasn't been that bad. You look at his stats and like he's playing better than a lot of quarterbacks. But unfortunately, this team it's not proving in their record.
No, and then the defensive coordinator. How does Vance Joseph? Vance Joseph has pictures of somebody because I don't know how he keeps getting these defensive coordinator jobs. He's bottom 3 in the league defense every year. It seems like he just keeps getting jobs. Steph,
I don't know why. It's very interesting. And then they even have, I don't know what's going on with Greg Dulcich either. Someone that I was always high on. Now they're saying he might be headed for IR. He's really pissing me off. I love Greg, but it's interesting to see how some of these teams even look at the Houston Texans, right? They're like not even going to have to do with like an actual rebuild. So like what they thought was going to be this rebuild is like, they're a good football team right now because they went out, got a good coach, got a good quarterback, made a couple moves in free agency because they showed that they wanted to win games now, not look 100% towards the future, but kind of balance the two of them. And now they're going to be in an awesome spot to, potentially even, I bet a couple weeks ago for them to make the playoffs. I don't think it's a ridiculous comment to even say that. They're playing good football right now. They're not perfect, But they also, one thing that people don't realize, they have money to spend right now.
Yes.
So if they want to go and make some more moves, like, I don't think that the Texans think they're winning the Super Bowl, but for their fans and for the organization and for the locker room to even go to the playoffs, to even have one win in the playoffs, which I think that's maybe a stretch here, but to show this organization and these fans in the locker room that you're invested in this team is a big deal. But some teams can't do that. Even the New York Giants. How many first-round picks have you had on an offensive lineman that has just not worked out? I mean, we're still rotating through. We're in our 6th different rotation this season. It's week 7. What the hell is going on? So I think some of these front offices, it kind of gets brushed over. Maybe some of that is like the legacy part, but there's questions to really be had on some of these teams. Oh God.
Well, I mean, it's funny you bring that up because it segues right into what I was going to say about the Texans. They just got Majai Sanders, who is the 100th overall pick in the 2022 draft class.
Yes, I did.
The Cardinals are just like, no, we don't want good players because they weren't drafted by our regime. That is one of my pet peeves when you get a new coach, a new GM, and they won't just give these guys a shot. Like, Sanders is a talent, okay? He's not perfect because he's in his 2nd year and he's barely gotten a chance to play in his 2nd year. He's been on IR, but you see, first off, elite athleticism. He's a top 120 edge defender in RAS all time, going back to 1987. So great athlete. Then you see what he did at Cincinnati. Good in the run game. Good pass good pass rusher. But what I saw in the run game, this guy has a chance to be a really good run defender.
Yeah.
And so I think the Texans are sitting here like, we got Will Anderson, and now we can just kind of throw him in there, and just now, D'Amico is going to be able to develop him, and he's going to get an opportunity to play a little bit this year. But the whole thing with Majai Sanders is you just got a draft pick who's a 3rd rounder for nothing.
I mean, even Isaiah Simmons, the way they sent him over to the Giants.
Exactly. Jordan Jones.
I don't think people realize, like, even that year, I wanted the Giants. Like, when his draft year, I wanted the Giants to draft him then. He was someone I went after. So they very easily are just turning over these like elite talent, like draft prospects, and they're just like, it's okay, we're good.
It makes no sense to me because they're playing tough football. You got to give the Cardinals credit. They're not going down without a fight. There was a turnover in that game against the Rams that covers up what could have been a tie game in the 4th quarter. A lot of people don't know that. So the Cardinals they're playing teams tough. They had a huge lead on the Giants. They blew it. They're the worst second half team I think I've ever seen. But they held off the Cowboys. They beat the Cowboys. And I'll just say this. I mean, it doesn't make sense because they're not only playing tough, they're without James Conner. They're still in games, without James Conner. Josh Dobbs is playing good football. Like, he's to the best of his ability.
Like, I love people.
That's why nothing makes sense. There's no direction here. Why is Kyler Murray practicing? Why is he going to probably play this week or next week? Like, why?
Because I think, and it's so funny, I think everyone was so stuck on the fact that this team was going to tank. And then now they're very confused what's going on.
Because they don't even know what they want to do.
I don't think they know either.
I mean, getting rid of your 2022 3rd round pick, I don't get it.
The Arizona confuses me. I do like that I took their that win total dropped to 3.5 and I took the over because I think they sneak out 4 games at some point here. Have you seen the Eagles schedule?
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
It's brutal is what it is, actually, especially for a team that I don't think is playing up to where they could be right now. I think there's been a lot of personnel changes and that plays a piece into this. But so coming up, so they have Dolphins at home, on the road to Commanders, Cowboys at home, on the road to Chiefs, Bills come to the link, 49ers come to the link, then they have to go to Dallas, then they have to go to Seattle. It gets easier from there because then it goes Giants, Cardinals, Giants. But again, that schedule is a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, everyone obsesses over the Kelly Green. Are they going to win that game? Like, that's going to be embarrassing the way everyone talks about the Kelly Green and uniforms, and if they lose to the Dolphins in them. I think they look cool, but I think they're overrated. Just like I'll say it, I think the powder blue Chargers ones are overrated too.
Yeah.
They're just UCLA. Like what's the difference?
I just don't. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Kelly Green. I also am a hater because it's the Eagles, but I just genuinely don't. I don't think they're as cool as everyone's making them out to seem. And I'll probably have Eagles fans in the comments like very shortly after this. So that spread, what is that? Oh my gosh. So Eagles are favored 2.5-point favorites. It looks like a lot of the money is coming in on the Eagles, probably rightfully so. I wonder what the total is in that game.
I mean, this is like this Dolphins team did lose by, what was it, 4 touchdowns to the Bills. So like, what is that game? That game happened. Was that just a bad day at the office? Was that a rivalry game? Like just the Bills? Yeah. I don't know what that was. So who's to say in Philly that doesn't happen again?
Philly's a tough place to play also. That total is at 51.5. Probably lean the over there, but it'll be interesting to see. I think this is a really big game for both of them because I think the Dolphins have beaten up on a lot of these like shit teams. So again, and then you go and you lose to the Bill. Like, and I think that the Dolphins are a very good team. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL right now. But Mike McDaniel is just he's able to overcome, like, they don't really have that good of an O-line. There's some issues on their defense, and he's just overcoming it. He's finding ways to scheme this team up in a way that they're having success.
Yeah, they're using that Tyreek Hill rail motion that is just railing teams. Like that's really what it is. They have no answer for it. We talked about how the Rams adopted that with Tutu Atwell, and we were talking about how the Giants should do that with Wan'Dale Robinson. It really is like the idea. You have a guy already in a sprinter, he's already sprinting down the field basically, and then you hike the ball. It's almost like the Canadian Football League. Not quite, but almost. And the fact they have that head start, that's scary. I just think the Eagles win this because the Eagles are going to limit your possessions. They're going to hemorrhage the clock. They're going to use Jalen Hurts. They're going to use Swift. They're going to use Boston Scott. Might be an interesting little anytime touchdown in this one. Scott. Hey, you can always count on Boston Scott to have some random touchdown.
Oh yeah, especially against the New York Giants.
Yeah, it's but Gainwell also.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those games. I don't know if Jalen Ramsey will play in this game. I know he is practicing. I think if he played, that'd be fascinating. I don't know where that would go. But I think the Eagles are the more complete team. Their offensive line is no joke. Like, just absolute no joke.
It sucks. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Thursday Night Football.
Yes.
Enough Eagles talk on my show. So the Saints are 2-point favorites at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, two wins in London, came back, beat the Colts. I don't know if the Colts win is as impressive as everyone is making it out to be, but I let people have their own opinions on that. Total sitting at 40.5. Jacksonville leading the AFC South here. Do you have a lean on either of the sides or this total?
I like the Saints in this game.
Okay.
I like them. I'm going to probably say I'll go 21-17.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a game where we've kind of seen at times Mr. Golden Boy, Trevor Lawrence, can be really good and he can be really bad. I think this is one of those he's going to be really bad.
Is Carr hurt? Is he not hurt? Like, someone tell me what's going on. I mean, there's not a lot of clarity.
Yeah, I mean, if he plays, that's another thing. It sounds like he's going to play. Short week, I just don't think this is a good matchup at all. I think the Saints front is absolutely disgusting. Cam Jordan, I love what we've gotten out of the guy from, was it Wyoming? I'm totally blanking on his name. Granderson. Carl Granderson's been unbelievable for those of you who haven't watched the Saints defense. But I think you have all those guys, and then you have Olave, you got, Kamara. I think Jamal Williams coming back is being a little bit made, like there's too much being made of that. But what I think it does is I think now it allows Kamara to be more in the receiver role, which I think he's more comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I just think like any reception prop for Kamara in this one, no brainer. But I also think Travis Etienne could have a really good, like, just like if he had a like 10 catch, 60-yard day where it's just like Trevor Lawrence is just trying to stay alive in this game, wouldn't shock me.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, I actually like both of the running backs to go over their receptions. Etienne's is at 3.5 at plus 140. Last time I looked, Kamara's was 3.5 plus 100. Etienne has had 3 games with at least 4 receptions, and he's played 79% of the team's offensive snaps. Like, he's getting a lot of action. He's very involved. I like both of them to go over their numbers, but I'm with you on Etienne. I think people are putting a little bit too much emphasis on Tank Bigsby, and I think it's distracting them from Etienne just straight up being involved, especially if this is a game where, like you said, Trevor Lawrence is a little banged up. It's going to end up being a little bit of a check down city. This could very easily be an Evan Ingram game. I like Evan Ingram to finally get into the end zone. I thought it was going to happen last week. Totally screwed the pooch on one of my anytime touchdown parlays. Wasn't amused with it, but I'm with you in that thinking. And even Evan Ingram, his receiving yards, I think, is a very sharp line at 42.5. His anytime touchdown is at plus 320. I'd probably look to play. I think I did already play his anytime touchdown. I have a little bit too much money in this game. Was a little bit silly, but I like the thinking there with Etienne. He's quietly having a season that just no one wants to talk about.
Yeah, and it's really impressive because it was always like, can he actually, sustain that workload? And he's doing that. One thing I want to pivot to here in this game, because I mean, come on, it's not our conversation about bets if it's not a sack bet.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to throw it. Brian Breesy at plus 320.
I love it.
Come on.
I love it. What is that? Is that on DraftKings?
I think that might be, I think it's FanDuel.
Okay.
FanDuel.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down because I have to tell you on that. I love that.
Yeah. I really like that one. Cause I mean, I like Cam Jordan plus 154, but I was like, cause I mean, Cam Jordan plus money, that's a good, but I'm like, Breesy at plus 320. When do you see that?
I don't know.
That's a lot. Like,
that is a lot. It's very high. Very surprising. And yeah, I can't believe I missed that when I was doing my research. Granted, I was puking my brains out yesterday and losing like 10 pounds in one day. So I also didn't do the research to the extent that I normally do. Derek Carr to throw an interception. He's always loves to throw a good one. Plus 102. I'll take it.
Look at your comment section. Easy just said.
Easy's the best.
He also plus 280 over
give me a break.
sacks.
Oh yeah, give me a break. That's easy. That's easy. We're gonna. I'm gonna throw that in too. That's on DK as well. He said.
I didn't know I'd wake up and bet the house on Brian Breesy this morning, but it is what it is.
But I think that's the fun way to play this. I also very much like Carr to go over his passing attempts, 31.5. He does this all the time. And Jackson's defense, like the defensive opponents, are averaging more than 39 pass attempts a game. So, their opponents are really throwing the fucking ball.
Yeah. No, I think. I mean, I like the interception. I think they both get I think this
is
again.
Trevor doesn't have a line though. It's so annoying.
Oh yeah, probably because they're like, oh well, he's hurt. We're not gonna give you that.
They're cowards. They don't even have. I could barely find. I wanted some more Bigsby lines. I only found a rushing.
I saw Underdog had him at like 11.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, that's what the books have him at too.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I wouldn't go under on that. I wouldn't go over on it.
Yeah.
We don't know what's gonna happen.
He said his dad played college ball with Breesy's dad. Love it.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, see, it was written in the stars. Like Easy just confirmed it. This is 100% happening.
Definitely putting that in before. I also think Rashid, I love this kid. Like
he's great.
He is just, and I didn't know how I wanted to play it. So his receiving yards were like 35.5, receptions were 2.5, but his longest reception at 18.5. I really like that. His longest has gone over this 4 times. Like he may not always get the targets, but when he does, it's usually a deeper ball from Carr there. His last week, 51 yards with a touchdown. So even considering maybe first touchdown, but I wonder if you parlay his longest. It sucks because some places don't let you parlay the longest reception. They try to make it difficult for you.
Yeah, like it's not already difficult enough. Like if someone gets injured, you lose. Like you know what I mean? Like we already have our backs against the wall. But yeah, I think what's interesting is like didn't Derek Carr just have like a 350? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I thought he had 353 yards last week passing.
Did he get hurt too?
He's back from the injury. I think it's safe to say he's golden now.
He's like always. Let's see. No, you're right. Yeah, 353, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He actually hasn't really thrown interceptions much. They still lost to the Texans. That's so funny. Yeah. But even like he goes over this attempts number all the time.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because we've also seen like Derek Carr have a game where it's like 182 yards passing.
Yeah, that's the thing with him.
That's the Derek Carr special. That's why I was actually kind of surprised. I mean, that was CJ Stroud. Credit CJ Stroud. He forced that into a quarterback duel.
I know. But I feel like everyone doesn't like. I have been shouting at you. Like CJ Stroud is playing so good and deserves so much more credit than he is even getting. It is not enough. Like whatever you are seeing is not enough for what he is doing on that team is crazy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have he has weapons, but it's not like the other, these other quarterbacks that, have all these passing yards. It doesn't even come close to the type of weapons that CJ Stroud has.
Oh yeah, no, CJ Stroud, he's just, and the thing is that you can't even say it's Nico Collins. It feels like every week somebody's out. So he's just making do with what he has. Yeah. He spent like $9 million on Dalton Schultz and he hasn't even been what he was in Dallas.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's getting the ball to Robert Woods. He's getting it to John Mechie. He's getting it to Xavier Hutchinson. It doesn't matter who's out there because he's getting them the ball. And furthermore, he doesn't have the best running game right now. This is not Dameon Pierce of last year. I believe in him, but like this, it's not like he has the luxury of having a Christian McCaffrey like a Brock Purdy does.
No. Yeah, it's very depressing. I get very upset when I have to talk about Dameon Pierce. It's not exactly what we thought we were going to see, at least.
Yeah, I know that was one of your guys. Sore subject there.
It is a sore subject. It's okay. It's fine. It's no big deal. Anything else you like in this game?
I think I only saw it on Underdog Fantasy, but I like the tackle prop for Lloyd.
I saw that too. Yes, I like that as well.
Yeah, it was like 7, I think.
Yeah,
total tackles. I'm not doing no solo tackles because I've gotten screwed on that.
Yeah.
I had one where I once took Taylor Rapp over 3.5 solo tackles and they had 4, the end of the game. Then they took one away and he had 3 and then I lost the bet. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute there. So I'm not dealing with that. But I like Lloyd because I think this is going to be a very box heavy game. They're going to run it with what we talked about. They're going to run it with ETN. They're going to dump it off to ETN. If Trevor Lawrence is like really banged up, like they're not going to let the Saints, tackle that. But I think the Saints are going to control the game enough where he'll have to throw at the end of the game or close to the end of the game. That's where the sacks come in. And I think Breesy, I think Granderson can get in there. I think,
I like it.
Cam Jordan.
I like it.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to have to add a little bit more onto my bet slips before this game starts here. Anything else from this game before I let you get out of here?
Well, if I put anything else, we would probably go broke, but I'm going to put something else. Okay. If you can find Group, the kicker for the Saints, 1.5 field goals.
I was going to say that. I have that on my thing to say. Yes.
It's a short week. They're going to go conservative. It's going to be ugly. always been on the kickers on a short week. Always.
Yep. I love it. All right. Let everyone know where they can find you. Appreciate you. I'll get you out of here. If you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel, do that, but he'll let you know where you can find it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Steph. You can follow me at JK Bogan on all socials. That's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. I'm also on Kick, which is just like a competitor to Twitch. I'm also on YouTube if you want to follow that. Just type in Jake Ellenbogen, I'll come up. But Steph, always a pleasure. Yeah. Appreciate it. And I look forward to another week of NFL football. Hopefully we nail all of our bets here.
Yeah, hopefully, and we'll get a little parlay, anytime touchdown parlay cooked up that we'll post in on Twitter between the two of us. Because last week we both had like two of the same legs, and then our last leg both missed, and we were so upset about it. So this week we will. A lot of the numbers aren't quite out yet, so we will get that up. Be sure to subscribe, like this. I'll be back Friday with all of my, week 7 bets. And everyone, good luck betting. Thanks, chat, for being here. See ya.
Watch him make it, break it, break it, break it.